Hi there. It's me, it's Shannon. Shannon and her beer and sheepless needles. Vegan podcast. It's not about being vegan, but it's a vegan perspective where we do all sorts of goofy things. We drink beer, we knit, we we look at bunnies who are not doing anything fun right now. So pull up a chair, grab a project, I don't know, some knitting, some crocheting, some cross stitching, some painting, some sketching, crosswords. I don't know. Grab what you need to grab and let's hang out. Today, I can barely read, but this is Plead the Fifth. This is Dark Horse Brewery. It is a bourbon barrel aged spicy hot chocolate stout. There's not one thing in that sentence I don't like. Steve's going to kill me. I'm making noise on the boom. So, if you're new here, welcome. This is a little bit of a crap shoot of a show where we hang out. I pour beer that you can't see. We changed the setup, and dudes, I'm having some trouble. So, cheers. Cheers, cheers, cheers to everybody. It is absolutely 100% exactly what it says it is. It's bourbon barrel aged. That's the first hit. And then it's definitely spicy hot chocolate, second hit, and then stout. And it's really good. If you have a chance to pick this up, again, it's Dark Horse Brewery, Plead the Fifth. Really worth it. Okay, so anyway, yeah, if you're new here, I don't really follow any type of formula for this podcast. I just kind of wing it. So if you need structure out of your podcasts, you might not have made a wise decision. But if you fly by the seat of your pants and throw caution to the wind, you have come to the right place, my friend. If you're returning, I so appreciate you coming back and hanging out with me. It means the world to me that anybody would sit and watch my hijinks. So thank you to everyone who's showing up and hanging out. I think in December, I can start to feel a little bit lonely, I guess. And it's nice to know that there are people out there who are hanging out, and just being there. So thank you. I need another sip of beverage. Hold on. It's been a little bit of a crazy 2 weeks. So Maggie went back to the vet and we got some good news that they did some x-rays. She has no kidney stones. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I should probably preface this. If you're new, Maggie is my cat. She's elderly and she's in renal failure. And she started having seizures probably about 2 months ago. She's had 3 major seizures. She has not had any in the past 2 weeks, which is really good. So anyway, we took Maggie to the vet. They ran x-rays. She does not have any stones or anything like that. But she did have an infection. So they put her on an antibiotic, which is, I'm sure those of you who have cats in their lives know how joyous of an occasion it is to have to pill pop your cat twice a day. So, but she's doing okay. She hasn't had any accidents in our bed or anything, which was happening before. So I think we're making some improvements and, she's doing well. And her blood panels actually came down. Now, when I say the levels came down, she's still on the very high end of where they should even be. But they're on the low of the high end, if that makes sense. So they're going in the right direction. We are feeding her, it's KD food, and I think it's Hills. Yeah, I think it's Hills. Yeah, I think it is Hills. Anyway, we have to get it through the vet. It's not the least expensive of foods, but if it's going to help those panels come down, then I don't care. So that's the Maggie report. Then we had the, what order do I want to do this? We'll just do it in this order. I went to the dentist because I could tell there was something up, like over in this region, something going on. Well, I grind my teeth, and I don't know if you're a tooth grinder at night, but I really grind my teeth, and it's been a problem throughout the years. Apparently, I have cracked two of my teeth and chipped a filling. So, for the first time, I've never had this done. I have to have a crown, and then they're going to replace one of the fillings. I don't do very well with Novocaine shots. They typically don't affect me the way they should. So I typically have to have a triple dose, and then it's kind of a debacle. So we'll see what happens, but I go in on Tuesday morning to have that done. And I'll just be honest, I'm super anxious already. Like, I'm talking about it and I'm sweating. Like, it really unsettles me. So Tuesday I'm going in for that. Shortly after my trip to the dentist, I then got my COVID booster, which, people, if you're watching this, you have to be someone who probably vaccinated. I can't believe I would have anti-vaxxers watching me. It just, I don't know. Well, if you are an anti-vaxxer, just, I have nothing to say. Okay, so anyway, I got my booster, and I did not have any side effect reactions to either one of my shots. But what happened to me on my second shot is I bled really badly at the injection site, like badly enough where it scared the woman who gave me the shot. That's the first time that's ever happened to me with a vaccination or a shot. And I just thought maybe it was in my head, I thought, well, I pumped iron that morning, you know, I had filled in some muscles and maybe, you know, whatever. So when I went in to get the booster, the same thing happened. Now, the woman was not as freaked out as the other woman was. But what ended up happening, and I got really tired. I didn't have any like negative side effects other than I felt like I had to sleep and sleep now. Like, and I did. And then the next day I slept for 14 hours. It just made me really tired. I don't know why. It was very strange, but I am fully boosted and very happy about that. So to everyone who is doing the right thing for other people, I applaud you and I thank you. And this is a vegan podcast, and I want to say something that I think is really important for people to understand about me, that I don't represent all vegans. I am just one vegan in a sea of vegans, in an ocean of like non-vegans, right? Is the COVID shot and booster vegan? No, they're not. Did I struggle with my decision of getting it? No, I didn't, because as a vegan, I wake up every day and I try to make the best decision with what's put in front of me. And while my ethics I will not sell out, I also am not here to harm other human beings on this planet. And I have a nephew who had Hodgkin's disease, or cancer. And it became brutally apparent to me why it is important to vaccinate for others. You need to protect people who cannot protect themselves. And so as a vegan, the decision to get the vaccination was a no-brainer, because I'm here to do good and I'm here to protect other animals on this planet, and humans are animals, and that is why I got the vaccination. If you want to fight me on it, go for it, but you know, I'm old and crotchety and you're not going to win. So there's that. So go get your booster. I think it's super important to protect ourselves and our family and our friends and complete strangers. Because quite frankly, There are people who do not have immune systems who can handle what is happening with this pandemic, and we need to do everything to help them. I don't want to watch anyone succumb to this. And even the naysayers and the anti-vaxxers and just the negative people who are screaming from, whatever molehill they've decided to make a mountain on, who are passing away, I don't wish that upon them or their families. I mean, I think it's tragic that someone's ignorance and choice led to their death. That's a very sad statement, and that's something that their families get to cope with after they're gone, and I think that's shitty. So let's make this more positive because that took a turn. So I got the booster, Steve got the booster, and then there was Thanksgiving. So we really didn't do anything. And, I stay away from, and I realized when I said this, I probably should have said more last time, that I just stay away from all family and everyone else. It's not that I don't love my families, Steve's family and my family. I do. But Thanksgiving is a day that we've claimed for ourselves because our families are not vegan. And they just are stuck. I don't know how much more, I don't know what more to say about this other than they have chosen tradition over family. And it's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. And this is not a criticism. It's just the reality of it. People are used to eating turkey. They're used to this tradition. And when you question them on the tradition, like, why are you doing that? They take it as a personal attack. And it's not a personal attack. It's like, if this holiday is about family and you want all family there, don't murder an animal and make it the centerpiece. I don't know. Pretty simple, right? Not for families who hold that tradition. Apparently not. Not my family, not Steve's family. And that isn't to say that they don't try to offer us, vegan options, because they both do. And it's greatly appreciated. But I choose not to spend my day knowing that an animal died to sit on someone's counter and get dry and not get eaten. Everyone says the same thing about turkey. It's dry. Then don't buy it. Why do people do? I just don't understand it. So anyway, we took Thanksgiving for ourselves, and it was great. We did nothing. We built a fire. I think I made the Gincident Cocktail from the Bad Manners cookbook, which was phenomenal. And really, we made a big pot of mashed potatoes. I made a vegetable pot pie, which I screwed up, but it was okay. And I made the sweet potato pie, Nana's sweet potato pie from the cookbook Sweet Potato Soul. And I cannot remember the author's name. She's super cute, super talented. Dudes, that pie was so good. I can't even tell you. I don't know why I would ever make a pumpkin pie again after that pie, because it was that good. And I'll put links in the show notes for Bad Manners and Sweet Potato Soul cookbook. I wish I could remember her name. And that was our Thanksgiving. So that's basically been the 2 weeks. And oh, wait, I need to go backwards. Sorry. So anyway, back to the Thanksgiving thing about not spending time with family. I just want to make it clear that it's not that I don't love my family and I'm not grateful to have both of my families, because I truly, truly in my heart am. And I know that there are a lot of people who don't have family. And during this time of the year, to have someone make a flippant statement like that was probably pretty insensitive. So it's certainly not the way I intended it. I know that this time of year is hard for many people for many reasons. Yeah. And it's hard on me in that way. And I just was vocalizing it. I just didn't want to overlook that aspect. And I feel the same way about Christmas to a certain degree. I'm not a religious person. I've said that before. So I don't celebrate the holiday in the way that our families do. More Steve's family than mine. I really don't have a religious family. I think my parents found God when they, this is just the truth. They both found God when they got closer to their mortality. And I think that's fine. Like, I'm okay with that. They can practice in a non-judgmental way, and I appreciate that. Steve's family is Catholic and very religious, with everything that brings with it. So that's a hard thing kind of sometimes for me, because I just don't, it's not my jam. But I will say Steve's family is not, like, I grew up in an Irish Catholic family, and that, like, I remember my grandmother and all of that. Steve's family is a very different type of Catholic. And like, when I think of Steve's family, I don't know why, I always think of this Alter High School fish fry, where it's like a lot of fundraising, a lot of like involvement in sports and things. I don't know. I don't know enough about religion to even be talking about this, but I do know enough about beer, so I'll shut up and drink. How about that? Okay, so anyway, that was the 2 weeks. I don't know. I am not looking forward to the holidays this year. I don't know what's going on, but I'm just a little down in the dumps. And, you know, sometimes I have to examine things and ask myself, like, are you feeling sorry for yourself because you absolutely have nothing to feel sorry for yourself about? And how dare you, when other people are going through some serious shit? And it's not that I feel sorry for myself. I just feel I'm just not, it's not even that I'm not happy. I'm just, I feel like I'm in the Charlie Brown Christmas. You know what I mean? I feel that, like, somber. Anyway, that's what hobbies are for, to cheer us up. So let's go. Let's do this podcast. This is a shit show. Sorry. What do we want to start with, guys? Let's start with the winner of the cookbook. Hold on. All right. So last podcast, I asked everyone to put down a Thanksgiving memory or what they love about the holiday in the comments. And by basically only two people, only two people commented on their Thanksgiving. One of them was family, and Catherine, no, I'm not giving you the giveaway. So Cheryl, you are getting this wonderful cookbook. Cheryl, hit me up in Ravelry and just DM me your address, and I'll send this and some goodies to you, okay? Congratulations, Cheryl. Thank you for your Thanksgiving memory. It actually was very sweet, and I really liked it. So everybody read the comments and read Cheryl's comment, because it was really nice. And then read my sister's, and you'll realize, yeah, just, you'll get it. Okay, so that was the giveaway. This is why, people, you have to watch the entire podcast, because then you miss that there was a giveaway. And that's how I know you don't watch it. And that's okay. You know, we do what we can. All right, so the other thing that came in the last 2 weeks for me is a lot of mail. So sit tight, hang on. Let me grab this pile, and we'll go over a couple things. So the first thing that showed up was my hybrid knitting, and this is Stephen West, and this has several patterns in it. Obviously, it's a paid-for Dealy Bopper, so I don't want to give too much away, but I am going to be knitting in January the, this, which is the Spiraling Cables Triangle Shawl. I have ordered yarn. Guys, I don't remember the shop name, but I think it was Terrapin Fibers off of Etsy. So when it comes, I don't want to show you the pattern, but there we go. So you can get a better idea. It is literally like, it kind of reminds me of a hybrid between the Painting Honeycomb shawl and the Botanic Shawl. And I really like it. So that's going to be my January project. Let me know your January projects. Do you have January projects yet? Are you thinking in advance? I am trying to think in advance so I can be organized. Okay, so then what else came was my Pompom winter edition. I do subscribe to this, and I will say that I was on the fence subscribing because it's not inexpensive, but it is so worth it. It's well written. It's well edited. Dudes, the photography in this and all of them are just incredible. And the models, holy crap. Like, so beautiful. Every single one of them. And I just, yeah. So, Pompom. I don't know what I'm knitting out of that one yet because I'm still looking at it. But then this came. Now, obviously we know Shetland wool, blah, blah, blah. We know what I think about that. But, okay, so there's a couple things I want to knit out of here. Okay. You guys, this is so hard to do with the boom in front of me. Look at this jumper, okay? Just look at that jumper. Now, I don't want to talk about the outfit that they decided to, I don't know what the, listen, I'm just saying that the outfit was a misstep, okay? That's all I'm saying. Because I did not even look at that jumper twice until I turned the page. You guys, look at this. Well, first of all, look at her. Good God. You know, just look how cute that is. Okay, and I even, like, I think I might do the same color pattern. I think it's beautiful. And I don't know how to pronounce the name of this. Soric? Sorry. So stinking cute. So as I went through, then, you guys, this... Whoop. Okay, you get this... Hang on. I am not Vanna White. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Here we go. Okay, come on. Are you kidding me? Look how friggin' cute that is. And then, not to be outdone, but this is the one I'm like, oh, you know I got to have it. Come on. Okay, first of all, look at the friggin' sleeves. Look how adorable that is. You guys. And a flat girl can wear this. I'm just saying. Oh my gosh, so stinking cute. So anyway, this thing is going to get me in trouble. Because that's a lot of yarn. Okay, so what have I been knitting on? So that's what I want to knit on. What have I been knitting on? I have been knitting on my Botanic Shawl. And hold on. Yikes. Okay. I got lots in this bag. Okay. Oh. I've shown this to you guys before. I have made some progress, but I obviously need to get this done before Christmas because this is a Christmas gift. Whoa. Ta-da. So it pretty much looks exactly the same as it did last time. It's just bigger. And you can't tell, but the yarn, okay. So the main color is the charcoal gray, and then the contrast color is the gradient color, which for you guys doesn't look like a gradient at all, but that is gray to an aqua. But it's not very visible, and we're just going to hope it gets better as we go along. It's a Christmas gift. It's going to be beautiful. I like it even if it doesn't change colors. So, you know, I am knitting this on my Addi Interchangeables, and those are Addi Rocket squares, which are the square needles. You guys, I love those. I love my interchangeables. It took a little bit of time. Addi is a push in and twist, and it clicks in place. And that is a little tricky. It does come with these little rubber pads that you hold. I didn't realize it came with those. So the first time I went to use them, it was a struggle. And then when I looked in the box, I was like, oh, hello. And it was really easy. And as you do it more and more, they get a little bit easier to click in place, but they are so, I love them. My sister has the Chiagu, again, I can't pronounce it, the Chiagu interchangeables. And I think they have a smoother transition from the cord to the needle. Addi does have a little bit of a ridge where if you're working with something that's a snaggy yarn, I could see you might have a little difficulty with that. So just something to keep in mind. The Addi Rocket Square fixed circulars do not have that transition, and they are phenomenal. So definitely check them out if you have a chance. And I would recommend, like if you most commonly knit hats, then get, a 16-inch fixed circular. And if you, do fingering, get, what is it, US 4 probably. If you do DK or, do a US 6, whatever it is. Because they're great needles. And I've just really, really enjoyed the smoothness and the evenness of my stitches because I do not have the best tension work on the planet. So, there's that. So I have to finish that by Christmas. So there is a deadline for that piece and I will get it done. Come hell or high water and a lot of friggin' beer, I'm going to get that shit done. I am knitting it on, I forgot to tell you, sheep cheese. We're just going to bypass that. Whirl and Whirlette. And it's like a blueberry compote, I think is, no, it's not. It's blackberry smash. I don't know what the colorway is. It's super cute though. And I'm not going to take this back out of the bag because it'll take me 8 years. But there it is, as you can see. And then the charcoal is the Whirlette that goes with it, which is the main color. So at this point, I'm going to have Steve, Mr. Editor, my lovely husband, you need to throw in the hat footage. Just throw it in. So people watching, here's me. Then you're going to see me again, but it's going to be me from a couple days ago. And then you're going to see me again. So I'm going to just sit here and drink a beer and we're going to wait for the transition. So cheers. This is a great transition time, Steve. Hi there. Mistakes were made. This is the Westward Hat by Stephen West. And as you can tell, as I am modeling it, and yes, it is me under here. It's Shannon. I am down here. As I model it, it was knit for someone of the giant persuasion. Here I am. Ooh, well, let's not mess around with that. Okay, so this is the Westward Hat, like I said, by Stephen West. It's a paid-for pattern that I will link below in the show notes that you can get from Ravelry, or I think Gumroad is the other thing he uses. But I will say it's a big hat. I have not woven in any ends because its future is debatable because we're going to hope it fits Steve. Now, the pattern even says it's a 21-inch circumference. And my noggin ain't that big. I think mine's about 19. So I knew from the get-go that this was not going to fit me and that I was not knitting it for myself. That being said, the yarn choice was probably not the best yarn choice in this case. I love the yarn though, so I don't want this to be a negative about the yarn because the yarn's friggin' phenomenal. So the yarn, well here, we'll just, so you can just, Okay, so the yarn is Knit Picks Billow. It is, as you can see, a bulky weight yarn. What you can't necessarily see is that it's roving yarn. And if you are not familiar with roving yarns, essentially it means that there is not a standard gauge of the yarn throughout the skein. So it goes literally, in this case, from what I would call a super bulky or jumbo size yarn all the way down to fingering. I did not realize how roving this roving yarn was until I was probably halfway into the band and the fingering weight started showing up. And then I got really nervous because as you looked at it, as I looked at it as I was knitting it, it almost looked like I had dropped stitches or holes because the fingering weight would be right next door to a jumbo stitch. And so it does look a little like there's places where you're like, oh, there's a hole in your knitting, Shannon. Nope, nope, there's not. So anyway, this is 100% cotton. And you guys, I love this yarn. I can't even tell you. It's so soft. It's just really soft. It's actually light. This looks like it's really heavy. It's not that heavy. Dishy is, I mean, just loads heavier than this. So it is a wonderful yarn. They don't have color names for this. So what I had was this and this, right? I bought one skein of the kind of, I don't know, magenta, and then 2 skeins of the charcoal. And this is what I have left. So certainly I can get a normal hat going. And by normal, I mean just non-cabled and just a simple, like a beanie. So that's the yarn choice made it larger than it needed to be, as well as the fact that it was already going to be big to begin with. I would recommend the billow yarn for, oh, it'd be a wonderful cowl. It'd be a great scarf. Oh, mitts, little hand warmers. It would be fabulous. So for those of you out there who have not tried billow and you like a larger yarn and you're not scared of roving, go for it because you will love it. It knit up really well. I did this on a US 7 and then I switched out to double pointed needles for the crown shaping, but I want to talk really quickly and then you can get onto your business of life. I want to talk really quickly about the mistake that I made so that you do not make the same mistake I made, because we know I don't follow rules. I can't even remember the recommended yarn for the hat, but it was probably DK weight. So you can already tell how off the boat I went. But where the mistake happened is when you knit the pattern, you knit the headband first, and then you can cast off and just have the ear warmer headband, or you can keep going and make the hat. Obviously, I kept going and made the hat. Herein lies the Shannon needs to read closely and pay attention to what the hell she's doing, because once you get up here, there is an instruction, and I don't want to give the pattern away, but I do want to talk about this, that says once you have 6 inches from your cast on, start the crown shaping. Well, somewhere in my head, I thought it meant 6 inches from where you started the hat, not 6 inches from the actual cast on, right? Well, no, it was from the actual cast on. And herein lies the problem. Because I chose a really large yarn, this is already 5 inches. So I was like, there's no way. So I just kept going, and then I started you guys, the crown shaping starts once you're at 6 inches from your cast on, period. So that's why the hat's so big. Now, we are going to hope that that little mistake is a blessing in disguise and that this fits Steve. If it does not fit him and he's not going to wear it, I'm going to do 2 different things. Well, no, I'm going to do 1 different thing. I lied. I'm going to wash it and dry it and see how much it shrinks. And if it turns into a toddler hat, hey, someone's getting the hat for Christmas. Don't know who, but we'll figure it out. So that is the story of the finished hat that we don't know what its future is going to be, but I'll report back and let you guys know. So enjoy the rest of your morning. Keep on knitting. I'll see you soon. Okay, so now that you've watched the hat footage, here is the hat. I'm sure you guys are noticing, I'm having a huge left-right issue today. I don't know what's going on. All right, so I need to weave in the ends, but here's the hat. Steve did try it on. It does fit him, which is crazy because this thing, like, you just know how big my husband's head is in comparison to mine. It's like, I'm a tiny pea and he's a huge cantaloupe. I don't know. But he requested a pom-pom. So I made a pom-pom, but I have not attached it yet. And I have a pom-pom question, people, that I need some help with. When you put a pom-pom on a hat, how do you wash it? Like, aren't you worried that your pom-pom's going to fall apart? Because I did my best to cinch my pom-pom really tight, but if I just like pull, I can pull crap out of this pretty easily, which tells me if it gets wet, I'm worried it's going to fall apart. So I'm going to wash this. After I weave in the ends, I'm going to wash it, and then I'm going to attach the pom-pom. But then I thought, maybe, is there a way to do a snap-on thing where I could snap it on and snap it off? Let me know in the comments. Give me some pom-pom advice, please. I really need it. But this is going to be the pom-pom that sits on top of Steve's head. And it is really cute on him. And he did not mind that it's... God, Shannon, get it together. I mean, it's a cute hat. Now, this is the Westward Hat by Stephen West, which I talked about. So here's what happened. I originally wanted this hat to be for me, but as you saw in the footage, the hat took over me, so the hat is not for me. So what I did is I knit, this is the headband, and I just cast off before you did the rest of the hat. Now, it fits. Look how cute that is, right? Here's the thing. I would have made the hat, but I don't love the yarn. And what's crazy about this yarn, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my monitor and that's really rude. I should be looking at you guys. It was really snaggy. Like it would get stuck on skin on my finger and snag out. And that's like super annoying when you're trying to get shit done, right? So, okay, so what I think is weird about that is this that I'm wearing right now is my Christmas Vertices Unite, right? I did this last year and I love it. If it's Vertices Unite by Stephen West, and you can kind of just get the gist of what it is by looking. But it's the same yarn that is. I did not have this problem last year when I knit this at all. And I don't know if it's because I think I knit this, I think I used a US 4 and it was really tight knitting, but I knew I wanted the fabric to be thicker. This, yeah, I think it was either a 6 or a 7. So it's much looser, right? And I don't know if that is what was picking up the snagging or not. But I also, like, I just didn't love it. So it was a test to see, like, because I have other yarn that's a similar weight. I think this is a 3 weight. I think. It is Soho Noel yarn. I got it at Hirschner's, and I got it in every holiday color they had. So hang on. I have it back in my dungeon of a yarn storage unit, and I will go grab it. I'm still sore from my AC/DC Peloton ride. Okay. So it is Soho Noel. Yeah, it's a 3 weight. I was not lying. It's a light 3 weight. So as you can see, it's like sparkly and festive for holidays. It was a great yarn to work with on this. I had no complaints. I don't know what was going on with that headband, but holy smokes, not enjoying it. So anyway, I wanted to do it as a test because I have other yarn that I want to knit that hat for myself with, but I wanted to make sure that it was going to fit and I wouldn't end up with yet another hat for Steve that he may or may not wear. Okay, so I did have 2 finished objects. I had the hat and the headband. I'm working on the botanic shawl. The other thing I picked up last night, because why would I ever finish anything, right? Is my... This is a sweater. This is the yoke of the sweater. You can't really tell. I'm trying to get to the sleeve split. So I'll get there eventually. But all right. So there's not much to show on that. This is the Painting Honeycomb sweater by Stephen West as well. I started this eons ago. My goal is to have this finished by the end of January. I also want to have my Halloween sweater done by the end of January. So January is like chock full. It's got a shawl and 2 sweaters. So we'll see how I do. I am using Premier Anti-Pilling Basic DK yarn on this. On the body, that's the black. It's the color Raven. And then I'm using Knit Picks Comfy for the yoke. And it was in just different colors. I really have no complaints about any of the yarn on that. I have decided that I really, really like Premier's acrylic yarns, and I think that I am not a huge fan of Lion brand acrylic yarns. That's what I've learned. Yeah, so that's my knitting. Time for beer. So let me know what you're knitting on. How's your are you doing holiday knitting? Are you gift knitting? What are you doing? Are you knitting for yourself? I say knit for yourself and give other people stuff. I don't know. Yeah, that's my knitting. Tell me about yours. What else do I have? Is that it? I think that's it for the knitting. I'm on the fence about Vlogmas, you guys. I filmed day 1, day 2, day 3. Today would technically be day 4 because it's December 4th today. I don't think I'm going to do it. And I don't think I'm going to do it for several reasons. But the main reason is I just don't think my life is interesting enough to be posting every day. It's not even interesting to me. So if it's not interesting to me, why would I expect it to be interesting to anybody else? So yeah, I don't think I'm going to do it. I may do like a special onesie twosie episode because I do want to do a couple cooking episodes. So I need to figure out how to film on my iPhone. I've got a kind of strange setup where I use a Windows-based PC with a Logitech Brio webcam, which is what I'm using right now, and obviously a boom mic. And then I also have for work, I use a Mac. So I have an iPad, an iPhone, and then I have the Mac. I do not use my work computer for personal use at all. Never the twain shall meet because I never want to get snagged by that. So for me to use my iPhone or my iPad to film on, then I need to transfer the footage to my PC, or I need to find editing software that we can use on my iPad. And I just don't know that an iPad is powerful enough really to edit. So if you podcast or if you film and what's your setup? I mean, are you using a webcam? Are you using just your phone? I have absolute confidence in the camera on the phone to film better and probably have better audio than what my setup is. So I'm not, against changing over. I guess I'm just a little fearful of the fact that I won't know what. So yeah, we're going to have to play around with my setup and figure it out. So in the next 2 weeks, my goals and my plans are this, that I'm not doing Vlogmas, so I'm sure you're all fine with that. I want to get as close to being done with that Botanic Shawl as I possibly can, because literally it needs to be done in 2 weeks. So that's the biggest thing that I know I need to get that done. I want to cook a little bit out of the Bad Manners cookbook. I also want to make Gaz Oakley's tea cake, fruit cake, bread stuff. So I may do like a onesie twosie episode just for fun, so you guys can come upstairs and kind of see my other part of my life. And yeah, I think that's gonna be it. I want everyone to be joyful during the holidays, but if you're having a hard time, please know that you're not alone. It's a hard time on a lot of us. And although on my exterior, I may look like, woohoo, happy-go-lucky, there are days where I am definitely not happy-go-lucky. And it just helps to know that I'm not alone, that, I will wake up tomorrow, and I am lucky to wake up tomorrow because so many people don't, So I take stock in gratitude in the fact that I have a heart that is beating and that I, have a loving husband, loving families and all of that. So I just it's a hard time of year. I get it. So take care of yourself so that you can take care of everyone else that you need to take care of, you know? Love yourself so that you can love everyone else. And always remember, you never know what someone else is going through. So things may appear one way to you, and they may be totally different for that person. And just always remember that when you become reactive. And I'm kind of telling you that when I'm really telling myself that and just sharing it with you. So something to remember, that the person in the grocery store line may have just lost a parent, may have just lost a child. You know? We're lucky. I'm lucky. I wish sorry, the bunnies aren't doing anything fun today. All right, guys. Peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Hey, guys. It's me again. It's future Shannon. And you know it's future Shannon. Can you see how rosy my cheeks are? Because this little baby was 11%. And she's making my rosy cheeks rosy. All right, so this is inserted footage because I totally forgot that I was going to share bunny stories once in every podcast. So today I want to share with you the story of Xavier and Jackie. And Xavier and Jackie were bunnies that came into the rescue separately, actually years apart. Jackie came, I'll have to think about how she was pretty early on in the rescue. She was a Netherland dwarf. She was gray, so tiny little bunny, and she was sassy as all get out. She played a game where you would set up toilet paper tubes and she would knock them down, and you'd set them back up and she would knock them down. You'd set them back up and then she would throw them at you. She was super sweet. Steve will insert either video or photos of Jackie. Yeah. And then Xavier. And if I cry during this, I'm really sorry. But all right, so Xavier was a rescue that I want to say was in Centerville, but I might be wrong on that, where we got a phone call that there were 2 domestic rabbits running around and that they had gone underneath someone's like deck. So we went out, and Steve, he'll probably kill me for telling you guys this. Steve, we call the bunny whisperer, and I don't know what it is, but bunnies are just magnetically drawn to him in a way that they are not to me. And so we went out, and it was raining, it was cold, it was just a nasty, nasty day. And we didn't see any bunnies anywhere. And we knew there were 2 that were running. And so Steve stood in front of this spruce tree, and he's like, I think there's a bunny underneath that tree. And little Miss Mabel came hopping out. She was Lop. I'll have him put a photo in of her somewhere so you guys can see her. Super cute. And sat right at his feet and just looked up at him like, human, get me the hell out of here. And he reached down, picked her up, put her in a carrier, and put her in our car. Well, that was Mabel, but we couldn't find the second rabbit anywhere. And so Steve kept going back, and I think it was 3 days in a row he went. And on the 3rd day, he looked underneath the patio or the deck. It's like a wood structure or whatever, with a flashlight. It's like a very narrow crawl space. And all he could see was the reflection of many eyeballs, which still makes me laugh. And this had never happened before at the rescue, but Xavier, who was a domestic rabbit, was hanging out with wild rabbits. And I'm not saying that that never happens. I'm just saying that in the history of us running Darn, we never had a domestic rabbit hanging out with a wild Warren ever. It just never happened. And we did many, many outdoor rescues of people who dumped the rabbits. So Steve, I wasn't there. Steve, with the help of like the people who owned the house and neighbors, somehow corralled and got Xavier out and brought him to the house. And he was stinking cute. He was a thick, stinking cute rabbit. But he was by himself. And he was fine. I mean, he and Mabel went to the vet. Everybody was fine. I mean, I think they both had fleas, ticks, and like everything you can think. Hookworm, ringworm. I mean, they had every worm and parasite you could think of because they had been outside in dog poop, basically. So, yeah, they don't, you probably don't hear about that from rescues very often, but when you rescue an animal that's been dumped, they typically are just coated in every single disgusting thing you can ever think of. And there's a serious disinfection protocol that you have to go through where you have to smock up to even handle them and unsmock when you're done every single time for at least 2 weeks. It's a serious thing. So we got them through the protocol. And, they lived separate. Mabel and Xavier were never bonded. They were completely separate rabbits. And Xavier, when we would let him out, upstairs. He would always kind of stare at Jackie because Jackie was in our living room. And we didn't have any luck bonding Jackie with any other rabbits ever. Like, it just never went well. And one day I'm just in the living room. I was like, he's just staring at her and she's not even reacting. So I was like, I'm just gonna open her cage door and see what happens. And she was in one of these in our living room. And Xavier literally hopped in. Like, Jackie would have been on the bottom floor where one ear is. And Xavier literally hopped in her space. And if you don't know bunnies, they're very territorial. And to have a bunny that you don't know hop into your space, typically there is a huge reaction that involves bloodshed either on your part or on a bunny's part, and usually a trip to the vet. Not fun. So I immediately was like, oh shit. And he jumped in her litter box. And then she got in her litter box and he hugged her. And I don't even know how to explain this. He laid down and took his front paws and literally hugged her. And then they fell asleep. And they never were separated after that. It was love at first sight. And he hugged her so tightly. And every time I think about that, I think about the look on his face. He loved her so much. He loved her so much. And then probably about 3 or 4 weeks later, he passed away. And okay, he passed away. And it might have been longer than, it might have been about 2 months later. And he was older. But it dawned on me that he had waited his entire life for Jackie. And he found her. And that look of happiness. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like it. And I miss both of them. I miss both of them dearly. And I thank the universe for showing me that. So for people who think that animals aren't sentient, you're wrong. They feel love just as passionately as we do. And I think they have more forgiveness than we do. So that's the story of Xavier and Jackie. And I will post photos, or Steve will attach photos and video. I'm hoping we can find the footage of them snuggling, but I think it was on our old Mac tower and it died, and I don't know that we ever got the footage off. So The bunny story of the week or the podcast is Bunny Love, Xavier and Jackie. And I love them.